Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So we're going to do another one of these kind of like versus videos, right? We're going to take two teams just against each other. Now, I'm not really sure so much, like, it's not necessarily like a race, and it's not really just even to be like, oh my god, look, this team is better than this one, but just kind of get like two teams up at the same time. We can kind of see how they're going to perform. Now, I don't want to spam this type of video either, because I don't want to, you know, like, I guess come up with this idea and then just blow my load super fast on it, right? Do 50 million teams. But I definitely felt like I wanted to get this one in right here, right? Which is do the two 7th anniversary teams against each other. I'm not really restricting, like, team builds or anything like that either. By the way, the gods got just a killer opening rotation right here, like, so bad. Like, we got both gods in slot 1. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to play it. I thought pretty much for sure I thought we were going to get toasted no matter what I did. But, you know, we do manage to get through it. Now, the only real rule with team building I have right here is that I just don't want to use, like, the opposing unit on their team, right? So we have the LR Super Saiyan 4 team, and then we have the LR Gods teams. Really, the only rule is I'm just not going to use each other on each other's teams, right? That's kind of the one thing. Now, the LR Super Saiyan 4s, they have Fuse Fighter and GT Hero. Their team has gotten significant buffs recently, right? We have one of the 8th anniversary LRs on their team, as well as, you know, the 5th anniversary Blue Fusions, which really help out a lot. Now, the gods, I mean, they have Movie Hero and Power Beyond Super Saiyan, so, I mean, of course, we know what Movie Hero is like, and then, of course, you know, we've got, like, God Goku that we can rock. We just have a lot of options that we can potentially rock on this team. Now, again, this isn't really, I would say, like a speed run. Like, I'm not really trying to do that so much. Maybe I could turn it into that. Like, it's like a lot of times, like, I want to make sure, like, when I'm doing these, I'm definitely trying to make the correct plays, right, so that we could win. Not really trying to just, like, you know, go as fast as possible. I'm not really a good kind of, like, speedrunner type guy, which is another reason that I'm not, like, really dying to turn this into a speed thing. But I certainly will listen to the comments on this and what you guys would want to see. It seems like a lot of you guys were very receptive to this idea, so that's why I think that doing the 7th anniversaries right here, 7th anniversary LRs, was, like, you know, just to me, a very, like, logical, like, next pick for this, right? So I decided to bring the Gammas for the Gods team. The Gammas are just, like, so tight with what they do. Again, I would use words like smooth and stuff like that, that I just feel very comfortable with the Gammas. Both of the 7th anniversary LRs, I really want to settle into, like, a floater role, probably. I just, at this point, the 7th anniversary LRs, for a lot of people, are definitely some of the most popular characters ever. Like, they're definitely, I think the 5th anniversary fusions, to me, probably still feel a little bit more popular, but seems like the 7th anniversary characters are way high up there in how much people, like, love them, right? So, they are very good, but it's just we've had so many stronger characters that have released since then, right? Like, remember, on JP right now, the 7th anniversary LRs came out, what, 17 months ago? So we just have so many great options that we can actually, like, bring to the table, like stronger characters in the 7th anniversary LRs. The good thing, though, is that the 7th anniversary LRs, even though for the most part they're not really characters that could just straight up tank the big boss super attacks, they have tools that will allow them to perform pretty well, right? So it's like, even these days, as long as characters, like, they don't need to guard with 80% damage reduction and stuff like that. I think, like, LR Gohan and Goten ZZ is probably a good example of that, right? Like, they can make strong characters that don't need these ridiculously good defensive mechanics, but obviously characters will be a lot better. Now, this rotation over here, I mean, the weakness for the 7th anniversary LRs has literally always been, if you get them turn 1 and then turn 3, it's just like they're not really impressive whatsoever. And we have double LR Gods on this rotation. We just happen to get lucky with where the Metal Cooler Army is doing their super attacks. Now, in the first video I did of this, you know, we did the Turles team versus Super 17 team, right? I just felt like we'll start out with the current JP team versus the current global team. And I felt like that would work pretty well. And I just went through the Metal Cooler Core stage. To me, the Metal Cooler Core stage seems like a good stage for this because of the fact that we can actually... I think most characters can pretty easily build up in the opening round, right? Like, there's just... The boss is invincible, completely immune from taking damage, basically. So that allows all these characters to just build up, I think, in, like, a very good way. Which I do really like, right? But I decided to throw in a second fight as well, just to kind of, you know, keep things going. I think I'm glad I did make that decision. I recorded the Super Saiyan 4 runs first, right? And then I ended up doing the Gods runs afterwards. But the first fight we do is the Metal Cooler Core, and then we jump into the Red Zone Full Power Frieza. I feel like the Metal Cooler Core is like one of these really tough stages, and then Red Zone Full Power Frieza is definitely still a tough stage, but it's a longer one. So I feel like, you know, maybe even, like, I could do one of these races, we do, like, Red Zone Cell Max, and then maybe we do, like, Red Zone Cell or something like that. Like, I think having kind of, like, a shorter, more difficult one, and then one of the longer ones could certainly work well. Another reason I wanted to get a second fight in here is that there definitely is, I mean, the whole game of Dokkan is RNG. I think that's one of the most important things people need to understand, is that literally everything is RNG, right? This is how the game is. So it's like there are various factors, like we could lose with one team and it's not necessarily like, oh, that team is worse than the other or anything like that. It's just, you know, we might have just had bad luck. There's LR Vegito Blue's guaranteed dodge. That mechanic on the 5th anniversary fusions is just so interesting because it's like, you know, you can float them for their first 3 turns in base in slot 3 and they'll have 70% chance to dodge. And then they come back their first turn in blue, and they have a 100% chance to dodge. So it's like the 5th anniversary fusions, you are just capable of doing such shenanigans with these characters because of how they operate. And of course, you guys knew that I was going to be spamming the hell out of them on both of these teams, just with how utterly ridiculous. I mean, look at this. They're both teams, both screens. The 5th anniversary blue fusions are completely dominating right now. And then both screens, we had their guaranteed dodge Metal Cooler Core super attacks. So if anything, so far this has been a good display of how absolutely nasty the 5th anniversary fusions can be with their guaranteed dodge, right? Now over on the God side, we just got really bad luck again. This is where the Metal Cooler Core can be really difficult to fight, is if the 7th anniversary LRs, if they get sealed, which happened, they're just cocked. It's just really bad to be able to sort of get through them being sealed, right? Now, remember that the Gods are a dodging character, so we'd have a pretty good chance if they would dodge for us. Remember that LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, with Rainbow Orbs, he gets damage reduction, whereas the Gods get stacking defense. And remember, the dodge they get from Rainbow Orbs does stack with their regular dodge chance, unlike Dokkan Fest Yamcha, where, you know, his dodge is not stacking. Like, all the super attacks, it doesn't stack with his 50% chance to dodge. There's the Gogeta Blue active skill right there. And, of course, we're able to use Tech God Goku on the Gods team over there, who... The Tech God Goku, he really has made, like, the lifespan of the Gods just much more, I would say, enjoyable for them. The fact that God Goku has existed, right? And it's like, he's so good that even, you know, we have Dokkan Fest God Goku. We're still rocking them both side by side. Another thing I'm doing with this, I am keeping all of the animations on, right? So we're getting all the transformations, intros, active skills. Like, we're definitely playing all of this. God Goku, Dokkan Fest God Goku, you could see how ridiculous he can be. I think in this video as well. He does really good work, that Dokkan Fest God Goku. He's just such a character, man. Like, they gave him so many tools. So that I was terrified right here of what would happen with the Gods. Luckily, we did not quite die. They didn't dodge for me. I mean, the Gods typically don't dodge for me. That's just, I can't even emphasize how bad our luck is right there, where it's like, the core seals them. It is just like so bad. Now, I believe the Spirit Bomb actually finishes off the Metal Cooler Core right here. If you guys can see, at this point, we are fairly close in terms of kind of like the time and stuff like that. Again, I recorded both Super Saiyan 4 runs, and then I recorded both God runs. So it's like, when I'm recording these two, I don't know how close these teams are together. Like, you know, which team was ahead, which team is far. Like, I'm just not real. I don't really have that knowledge. So looking at it now, it's like this is where the Super Saiyan 4 team is able to sort of get a bit of an advantage, is this right here, the GT Spirit Bomb. I mean, having the best unit in the game added to your team certainly does help. I probably could have and should have ran the 8th anniversary Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. Again, if I would, like, be more concrete on if this was a race or not, that is certainly a character that we will be rocking, right? Because that is probably going to be one of the faster units in the game for, like, a race-type environment. Yeah, nice, bye! Bye! Yeah! Dude, the Universal Spirit Bomb with this character, it's just ridiculous. Yep, just see it in hell. So, what I decided to do here, too, so I was thinking, like, should I have the one team wait until the other is done, or what am I gonna do? I decided that I was gonna have the other team begin pretty much immediately, right? I'm just gonna get to the clear screen, so, you know, we could see, like, you know, no items used, we could see the time for the run, and then I'm gonna immediately begin the second fight, right, with the other character, and then we are going to get going. I mean, they're not that far behind, because Gamma 2 is kind of like laying the finishing touches. So again, in this second fight, we are jumping right into Red Zone Frieza. I did make some minor changes to the teams too. I felt like it would be a good idea to not just run the exact same build in each run with each team. So I did like to make a couple of changes, right? And plus, Fuse Fighters is in a much better spot with all of the Piccolo love they've gotten. And there, of course, is Big Daddy right there, you know, Power Awakening / Orange Piccolo. He will be able to handle business very well. Now, remember, Orange Piccolo is fantastic, one of the best units in the game. I mean, I think you could very easily argue him as the strongest unit in the game right now. I think that definitely is something you can do, right? But Orange Piccolo, if we're going to talk a race setting, I certainly do not think that Orange Piccolo is going to be great for a race setting, right? We do use the Orange Piccolo transformation in here, and it just takes so very long, right? It's nuts how long that Orange Piccolo transformation takes as he's just attacking over and over and over and over and over and over and just doing all these attacks that it certainly wouldn't be too good in like a race type situation. I brought Dokkan Fest Easy Piccolo right here. You know, I mean, he will help bring the team together. He, of course, has got the healing and a lot of the good stats and stuff like that. Now, this Red Zone Frieza fight, this fight certainly can be tough. I think Full Power Frieza at the very end is definitely a very challenging enemy. But the one thing about that is that he doesn't really hit that hard until you get to the very end. Now, on the God screen, I probably did, like, in hindsight, I probably did make a misplay here. My idea was I was going to have God Goku and Vegito Blue as a rotation, and then the other rotation was going to be the Gammas. But if you guys notice, all 4 of the rotation characters I wanted essentially started out in the exact same spot. It's like, I don't know. The decision I ended up making was to push off Gamma 1 and leave these guys together, but it just leads to us getting absolutely obliterated by Second Form Frieza's AoE, but I don't... It's like, it definitely would have worked out better if I had floated off LR Vegito Blue, right? And then we had the Gammas next to each other with all the Gamma links. So then Gamma 2 would have been able to eat the AoE super by Second Form Frieza better, right? And all that. But, like, we still do win. It's not really that big of a deal. Now, over on the Gods team... like, what changes? What new characters did we bring? So we got the Gammas, Path the Power Kid Goku. Of course, he is very good, right? Path the Power Kid Goku with his orb changing and stuff like that, he's always going to be very good to run in a lot of teams, right? Like, getting all those orbs together is going to be very strong. He, of course, can help God Goku as well. Remember God Goku, we really do want to get those 6 orbs with God Goku so he gets the guard as well as the additional super. Although God Goku is still super good, even if you're only going to get the 3 key spheres, because at 3 key spheres, he still gets the extra dodge chance, which is pretty good. And then, of course, you guys know how it is. I mean, both runs, we got double gods in a rotation. Thank goodness it wasn't turn 1, though. Because the reason it's so bad if you get double gods turn 1 is because that will put you in a situation where you have both of them potentially on turn 3 where they can't transform yet, right? That's the problem with the 7th anniversary LRs. Typically, after they've transformed and they've super attacked, they are in a pretty good position, right? Usually they're pretty tanky, unless they're going to get hit by, you know, like a Cell Max super attack or something like that. They are going to be fine. But, you know, it's just, on turn 3, they have no defense whatsoever. That their first turn, giving them the guaranteed guard the first turn is really good. I think that's a good thing Dokkan can do, is give a lot of characters, you know, potentially guard, at least for the first couple of turns. What that does, one huge thing that does, is it takes away some of the opening turn RNG. People always have, like, not liked, like, oh, like, let me pick my rotations and stuff like that, but, I mean, it's a huge part of Dokkan's gameplay, right? Like, what your opening rotations are, and, like, you know, fighting through that. Now, here's what we just take so much damage on the guy, like, but there's something you could do here. This is why AoE bosses are really devastating. Now, if you're gonna wonder, like, oh, why didn't you put LR Vegito Blue in slot 3? You know, he could potentially get the dodge, although, again, I already did say that I wanted to have Vegito Blue and God Goku as a rotation, which we do keep throughout the entirety of the fight. But Vegito Blue's that dodge for the blue fusions, it does not activate until they actually attack in slot 3. So it wouldn't have even helped us if Vegito Blue was in slot 3, right? Like, we could have activated his 3 dodge, and I believe in the hidden potential system, all I have for him is 3 dodge. Half of this video, I feel like I should spend the 5th anniversary fusion supering, right? Like, is every second, like, I like, all right, let my eyes, like, zoom in right here, like, really focus on what's going on. It's, by the way, the 5th anniversary blue fusions are busted. Did you guys realize that? Yep, we're just supering all day long. Don't mind me, just supering over and over and over. They are so stupid. They really are just so crazy. I mean, that's, Dokkan, I think, needs to continue to make sure they nail the hype character EZAs. Those 5th anniversary blue fusions, their EZAs being as good as they are, I feel like that's probably one of the smarter things Dokkan has done. Now, right here, I could have popped the Power Kid Goku's active skill, and we could have used the God's active skill. I chose not to, though. I was pretty confident that second form Frieza was not going to super attack right away. In my experience with the second form Frieza, it's very uncommon for him to spam a ton of super attacks, I found. And it's not like the last turn, I don't believe the last turn, it wasn't like his first attack that he supered, right? So it's like, I felt pretty good for us, that we could, you know, kind of get Gamma 1 to attack, Frieza wouldn't super there, and then Kid Goku or the gods could finish it off. And that is exactly what happens right there, right? The other thing that's good for this fight in particular is that both the Super Saiyan 4s and the gods, they can kind of sit there and stack up and stack up and stack up for quite a while, right? We can continue to have them stacking, and, you know, we're not going to need to transform with either until very deep in the fight. I would say, like, you know, for the Super Saiyan 4s, once we get to AGL Final Form Frieza, that's where in my head I'm like, okay, like, you know, now, like, if there's a potential for a super attack, that's where I'll transform with them. The gods, I mean, if there was going to be a ton of attacks against this third form Frieza, I might need to transform. But for them, I could probably save their transformation until we reach the final phase of full power Frieza. And I will try and probably save as many active skills as possible for both teams until that final phase. So here we go. This, on the left with the Super Saiyan 4s, this is one of those rotations that people fantasize about, right? So I did kind of time it correctly to where we had one turn of Vegito Blue with his guaranteed dodge, and then the following turn, we had Gogeta Blue with his guaranteed dodge, right? Like, you can definitely set things up well to where, like, you're getting the guaranteed dodge. And then there's another... How many super attacks have we dodged in this video alone with the 5th Anniversary Fusion's guaranteed dodge? It's such a great mechanic they were given, man. It's so good to give these characters this guaranteed dodge. I just cannot I'll never stop talking about how strong it is to have a 100% chance to dodge, right? Now, remember that blue Gogeta, if you get him the 24 key, he does actually guarantee crit at 24 key, right? LR blue Gogeta. But, you know, we weren't really able to get there. I mean, the blue fusions, they do build up key with their first, what is that? I believe it's their first 4 attacks is where they're building up their stats and building up their stuff like that, right? So kind of like the opening rotation, sometimes key can be a little bit tricky, but they do give themselves a lot of key sort of anyway, right? To be able to sort of do a lot of stuff and stuff like that. So, as long as they're getting a ton of key, right, we are going to definitely be in a very good position there. So, over here, we're kind of going to just let the Gammas kind of do their thing. I knew that, like, again, I've run these red zone fights enough to where I knew that Gamma 2, just probably a decent rotation, a double super by Gamma 2, and this Final Form Frieza is not hurting him. And that's exactly what happens. Final Form Frieza does super Gamma 2 right here, and he doesn't even touch him at all. It does double-digit damage. I knew Gamma 2 could withstand it, right? Gamma 2, against the biggest bosses, they'll just one-shot him off the screen, of course. But Gamma 2 does get to that... I mean, I do kind of call it the danger zone of, like, it's like 1,000,000 defense flat, like right around that number. That's the number where, like, a lot of people will say, oh my golly, that's so good. But it's like, it is against most of the attacks, but the biggest bosses will still one-shot you at basically 1,000,000 defense, right? And sort of like that's what happens right there, is that this Frieza doesn't hit that hard, right? Remember that tech full power Frieza, he gets a huge jump in damage. Now, on the left side, I did decide to do the Orange Piccolo transformation, and that means we are going to be sitting here for quite a while Orange Piccolo is just attacking. Again, if this was like if I was truly like, all right, we're doing a race, we're doing a race with it, then I probably would not use Orange Piccolo. I don't think so. I mentioned this idea to Goresh, right? Like this idea I was doing. And Goresh actually linked me to a Japanese YouTuber who Goresh says has been doing this like exact video format for a long time. And Goresh was telling me that what he does, the Japanese YouTuber, is mainly just do it as kind of like a race type thing. So again, let me know if that's what you guys would like. I don't know, like I'm definitely not the best at moving super fast. So again, I don't know if there's, I don't want to necessarily make this like a direct race against each other. And I'm also not trying to make this like, oh, see, this team is better than the other. Because both of these teams right here have gotten significant buffs. It's like, I would be very tempted to say that the Gods team is better. Because it's like, you know, all of these same characters are pretty much on there. It's like, it's just that the GT Super Saiyan 4 team, they have the Dokkan Fest Physical Piccolo, and then they have the GT Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, the best unit in the game. But like the Gods with Power Beyond Super Saiyan, how many extra characters do they have on there? Like Dokkan Fest God Goku, right? Path to Power Kid Goku from Movie Hero. Like, they're not an LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's team. So it's tough. I would probably lean towards the Gods team still being better, but I'm not gonna lock myself into that. It's very possible that with, you know, the 8th anniversary, and then later on, the physical Dokkan Fest Piccolo ZZA, it's very possible that the Super Saiyan 4's team is actually just better now. Most Super Saiyan 4 characters are pretty bad, though. Like, I could have rocked maybe, like, the Tech Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Maybe I could have rocked Tech Pan as well, but I am not a fan of Tech Pan, right? Like, yeah, she, you know, if things go our way, she could do a lot of damage, sure. But I definitely was interested in trying to do this in one try as well, right? Like, I didn't really want to lose. I'm sure as we do this, eventually a team is going to lose. And I'm probably just going to jump right back in to immediately finish the run. Because it's like eventually, like, just a bad break will happen. Like, on the right side right there with the Gods team, we easily, Full Power Frieza could have supered Gamma 2 right there and just one-shot him. Right? Like, that's just something that very easily could have happened. And it's like, does that mean, do the Gods suck compared to LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta just because Gamma 2 got one shot? by a type disadvantage boss, you know, 8 turns deep. Like, no, that's not what that means. So that's another reason that, like, races, I mean, I guess if I just say, like, all right, like, this is going to be a race, right? Like, one try, just, you know, let's see what team gets luckier. We certainly could do that. Now, this is great. I noticed it's like, okay, well, we definitely got to do the active. Typically, I like to not use God Goku's active because it depends on if we can get the 6 orbs, of course, but you're safer in God form provided you can get the 6 orbs. Because Super Saiyan Goku, he gets to that danger zone, right around 1,000,000 defense, where the big bosses can pretty much one-shot him. Now, this full power Frieza probably wouldn't one-shot Goku, provided Goku was super attacking first, but it would do significant damage. But, oh my god, we're actually going to get, yeah, how crazy. We're going to have both Vegito Blues active skilling pretty much at the same time. I made sure to use Vegito Blues active in the last slot right here, because remember, if you use it in the last slot, you will actually get a 7, like, he'll activate all of his abilities in slot 3. It didn't matter on the Super Saiyan 4 team because, you know, we just finished with Gogeta Blues, right? But over here, I knew I wanted to make sure Vegito did it in slot 3 because then Vegito would get the 70% chance to dodge and we could rock him in slot 1. I could have used Super Saiyan Goku to either character, I guess, would have both had 70% chance to dodge right there. But yeah, there we go. Teams ended up being pretty close. I mean, we did 2, you know, high-tier red zone fights back-to-back, and both teams finished almost at the same time, right? I mean, certainly, if you take away the Spirit Bomb of the 8th Anniversary LR, right, like, then the Gods team, you know, would have finished both fights faster, but, I mean, we did use the Spirit Bomb of the 8th Anniversary LR, right? So, maybe I could have used Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, potentially in that second run. Against full power Frieza, they would have destroyed him, right? Because the fight is so long, they'd be able to stack up so much. So, there we go. There was LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's team versus the LR Gods team. Let me know what you guys think of the 2 teams. I think the next one of these I'll do, might be like a week or so. I'll wait a little while. But I'm probably going to do LR Gohan and Goten's EZA versus the 5th Anniversary Blue Fusion's EZA. Those will be basically the 2, like, sort of like teams will be running against each other. So, let me know what you guys think, how I could potentially improve this that you guys would like. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.